Picture, if you will, a medieval winter. Not the romanticized version from tapestries and tales, but the bone-chilling reality where survival hinged on a single resource, dry firewood. While we often celebrate medieval warriors and craftsmen, the true unsung heroes were the peasants who, mastered a forgotten science that determined whether their families lived or died before spring's arrival. This wasn't simply about gathering wood and burning it. No, this was fieldcraft elevated to an art form, a systematic approach to moisture management and thermal preparation that honestly modern survivalists are only now rediscovering. What these medieval households understood about wood storage contains lessons that transcend time, offering insights into self-reliance that remain profoundly relevant today. Medieval families knew something that, eludes many modern homesteaders. Wood and ground are natural enemies. Walk through any surviving medieval village site and you'll notice the remnants of stone platforms and wooden pallets positioned strategically near dwellings. These weren't decorative. They were survival infrastructure. Peasants understood that moisture wicks upward through capillary action, that a single night of ground contact could ruin weeks of seasoning. They constructed bases from river stones, creating air gaps of 6 to 12 inches, allowing wind to circulate beneath the pile while preventing the relentless dampness of earth from creeping into their winter fuel supply. In wealthier estates, entire timber frameworks supported massive wood piles, engineering solutions that kept hundreds of logs suspended above the frost-laden ground throughout the harshest months. The true genius of medieval firewood storage revealed itself in the Holzhausen, a circular stacking method that, transformed humble logs into self-supporting architectural forms. Imagine constructing a cone of wood that stands 8 feet tall, holds multiple chords, and requires no external framework. Medieval woodsmen would begin with a center pole or hollow core, then stack split logs in concentric circles, each tilted slightly inward at 10 to 15 degrees. This wasn't arbitrary. The angle created natural water shedding, while the hollow center functioned as a vertical chimney, drawing air upward through the stack. As wind swept across open fields, it didn't topple these structures, but instead ventilated them, pulling moisture from the wood's core outward. The bark side-up orientation of each log acted as nature's shingles, channeling rain away from the vulnerable heartwood beneath. These structures stood for months, slowly transforming green timber into the dry, energy-dense fuel that would cook meals and ward off hypothermia when January's grip tightened around thatched cottages. Medieval households positioned their woodpiles with the precision of military strategists reading terrain. They sought areas where prevailing winds would work for them, not against them, understanding that stagnant air meant trapped moisture and ruined fuel. Woodpiles appeared on slight elevations, positioned to catch cross breezes while remaining accessible during snowfall. The distance from the dwelling itself became a calculated decision, close enough for convenience during blizzards, yet far enough to prevent the dampness inevitably surrounding a lived-in structure from compromising the drying process. This was fieldcraft born from observation, from generations noting how morning fog settled in low areas, how certain clearings dried faster after rain, how tree lines created wind tunnels that could accelerate or impede the seasoning process. What really separates medieval firewood management from, just gathering wood, was their deep understanding of time. Families didn't simply cut wood for the coming winter. They cut for winters 2 years down the road. They knew, for instance, that oaken beech demanded somewhere between 18 and 24 months of seasoning, and that rushing the process meant smoky, inefficient fires that wasted precious calories fighting incomplete combustion. This kind of long-view planning created rotating stocks, making sure that while one pile seasoned for next year, this year's fully dried wood stood ready to use. And the act of splitting wood right after felling wasn't just labor for its own sake, it was a strategic move, accelerating moisture release by exposing inner surfaces to air and sun, and, well, multiplying the drying surface area exponentially. These medieval techniques, they weren't lost because they became obsolete. They were forgotten in our rush toward convenience and fossil fuels. Yet, as modern practitioners rediscover the satisfaction and security of wood heat, these old methods offer some truly profound wisdom. The Holzhausen, for example, remains one of the most elegant firewood storage solutions ever devised, requiring no purchased materials beyond the wood itself. The elevation principle applies whether you're stacking cordwood in Maine or preparing fuel in a remote cabin, and this patient multi-year approach to seasoning, it really does contradict our instant gratification culture, but it delivers superior results that any serious woodburner will recognize straight away. Medieval peasants? Well, they possess something that's increasingly rare in our modern world, an intimate knowledge of natural systems and the patience to work within their rhythms rather than against them. Their firewood storage methods represent more than just historical curiosity. They embody a philosophy of preparation, observation, and respect for the resources that sustain life. So, when you elevate your next woodpile, when you arrange logs with the bark side up, when you plan seasons ahead instead of days, you're not just storing firewood. You're connecting with centuries of accumulated wisdom, honoring the ingenuity of those who survived without our safety nets and conveniences. These techniques saved lives when failure meant death, and honestly, they remain just as relevant for anyone serious about self-reliance and bushcraft mastery. If this journey into forgotten fieldcraft has sparked something in you, go ahead and subscribe to Fieldcraft Chronicles and share this with others who understand that the old ways often remain the best ways. The knowledge of our ancestors deserves to be remembered, practiced, and most importantly, passed forward.